Well, the glorious part of the glorious good work, Tom, the Goodwood has been working out for us. The first
Yeah, we're
day,
we're
nice one
hanging
for
in there.
you. Nice one for you yesterday. And then I got that one of my long shots to come in second today. And that made for what, like $191 trifecta for a buck. I'll take it. With the heavy favorite being first, still getting 190 bucks.
Yeah, that was impressive because it was a very chalky day.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't get my
Oh,
6 horse, but the 1 horse went in there. When I first did my picks, I had the one first, and I'm like, oh, hell with it. I'm going to go with the longer odds and go really crazy.
yeah. Well, it was also a Godolphin day. They're probably the most impressive. Well, they're two impressive performances. The Nashua coming from last to first was a really nice ride and run by Holly Doyle. Get that horse in time. And the one that I was most impressed with, because the bias was so against it, was it came up the middle, was New London. And that's a Godolphin horse. And a 3-year-old, I would not be surprised to see that in the Breeders' Cup turf.
Coming up in just a couple of months at Keeneland, so that should be a lot of fun. Well, today we're going to cover Friday races, and then we have 3 races. Hopefully, we're on the same page today: race 2, race 4, and race 5. I think those are the right races. And again, let's see, race number.
You did it.
I did it. Yay! Every now and then, what is it? I call it the broken clock theory. Every now and then, you get something right, right?
Yeah, well, you take what you get, right?
Indeed, you do. So this one is a mile. It's the Bonhams Thoroughbred Stakes, named after the drummer for Led Zeppelin. I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably not. 1 mile on the turf course starts here, and if I remember correctly, it bends out and it doesn't go into this shorter
Yeah,
turn.
they're using the outer bend, and they changed where where the cutoff is. It's now up at the top of the stretch, near the
Okay.
top of the stretch. So slightly, because they want to obviously run on different surface to keep it all going. But it's just the way it is sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So, looking at this race, Tom, how do you see the pace playing out? Do you see a lot of speed, a little bit of speed, a little bit of everything?
I didn't see a lot of speed in here. I think they're going to be plodding along initially, and when we hit that 3 furlong marker, then we'll see positioning and things start to happen.
They'll giddy up and get going, eh?
Yep.
All right. So, how do you like the race number 2, the Bonhams Thoroughbred Stakes?
I went with
first one.
Number 5. Rocco Gianni is my top choice.
Uh-oh.
6 starts, 2 wins, and a second. Started the season in Germany with a 6th in its first run in a Group 3 at Kerford, and then it went second and then next in a Group 2 at Cologne. They shipped it over to Royal Ascot to run 5th in the Group 3, and it was outrun early, started the move, finished well, and interesting race. They're going to switch the jockey. They're going to use a local now rather than the German jockey. Tom Marquette is going to take that mount. And I have a sneaking suspicion you could get a few bucks on this horse.
He's rode him before, too.
Yeah. Number 3.
No, he hasn't. It's a different name.
No, he's never ridden the horse.
Yeah,
it's a German.
That's because my eyes are bad. I just see the M. And I'm like, okay, M and M.
Yeah, well, he ran a good 4th at Royal Ascot. So I was a good 5th, And you got to put him in there. The favorite will be number 3, Check and Challenge. I'd be surprised if it isn't. It has 4 starts, 2 wins, a second. And my comment was one forgettable race. Last out in a Class 2 handicap. It finished second at Sandown. Had some trouble to start. Moved up, but was never quite doing enough to catch that leader. Tried Group 1 company, and it's yucky waste. The first 2 starts were maiden and enlisted races, and did all right. My issue will be the going. Sandown is a significantly different track than this one, and you may see this one not even come in the money.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
Well, the last time it made a second start off the break, it was nowhere near the money.
Yeah, but it was also in a Group 1.
Mhm.
So you got to keep that in mind too. Final choice. Number 1, Bayside Bay. Has 7 starts, 2 wins, 1 second, and 2/3. Royal Ascot he just didn't take to the track is the best way to describe it. But he's been running in 4 races have been Group 1s. He's ran twice third to end the season last year, and he's a Group 2 winner. And granted, it was a 4-horse race, but he's dropping, in my opinion. And this may be a good place to see if he can get back to his old form. And I do have some question on the going with him too. But I think this is a better spot for him.
We have a lot of agreement.
Facing those Group 1 horses because he's not been able to handle them yet.
Well, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing because we have a lot of agreement today, Tom. So
That's
at least so far.
Not necessarily a good thing, no.
Well, I don't know if it's good or bad. Sometimes it works in our favor and sometimes it doesn't. So hopefully this is the way we've been going. Like I said, we're putting the glorious in Goodwood so far the first couple of days. I'm going to go with number 5, just like you, as my top choice. What is that? Roccigiani or something like that? How would you go?
Rocco Gianni is the way I heard it pronounced today when I was listening to one of the handicapping shows from over there.
I'll go with that. The horse has run at the distance once, has a nice second place in there. I like you, Tom. I like the fact that it went over to Royal Ascot, ran a decent race in only 2.5 lengths off the winner in that grade 3 jersey. So I expect that you could see the horse continue to improve, maybe facing a little lesser of a field here. The next horse I have in here is Check and Challenge as well. As the 3 horses, you mentioned, the horse is likely to be one of the favorites. And the horse has had 3 good races, 1 horrible race, just like you said. The one thing that does concern me a little bit, Tom, is that the 2 wins did come on the all-weather. And the 2 races so far on the turf, one good one, as you mentioned, the forgettable one, 14th out of 15, off by 9 3/4 lengths. So it's not like it was a sprint and it finished a length off at photo finish with a hurt at the line. That was the second off a layoff too, just like today is going to be. So I hope that's not a trend for that horse. But in a way, wouldn't it be bad either? Because if you get the trifecta and that guy's out of the money, it's going to help you out a little bit. My next choice is number 2, Berkshire Shadow. So a horse that's also been all right on the turf, ran 7 times, 2 times that won, 1 time that came in second, 1 time it came in third. The horse is making its 3rd start off a layoff, and I do like the fact that it improved from the first start to the second time. The bettors apparently thought more of the horse, and it dropped in class a little bit, which is understandable that the bettors were back a little more. But I do like the fact when I look at the numbers, it seems like when this horse trends from a bad race to a good race, that it doesn't just go bad, good, bad, good. Once it hits that good streak, it tends to run well for a couple races in a row. And then number 1, Bayside Boy, is my 4th and final choice. Bayside Boy is a Ryan Moore horse. This is the other one that's going to get some play. I think first off a layoff, maybe been running in a lot of Group 1s. So I think a cut back in class here is probably enough to get it done. Though sometimes I worry when horses have a hard time winning that they lose their confidence. I hope that's not the case here. Let's see, Tom. I forgot yesterday. Today, I couldn't wait. This is the thing I've been looking forward to doing all day when we do these things. Can't forget the predictor. All right. So what does the predictor say, Tom? It says, boom, looks like Check and Challenge. We have Berkshire Shadow. I don't have I have the Berkshire Shadow.
Yeah, you have it.
And Bayside Boy. Ooh. And look, I got all 4 of them in there, Tom.
So you throw those all out and then
take the ones behind it. You're probably going to come home happier for sure. Well, you'll definitely probably get more money out of it. That's for certain. All right. The next race we're going to do is the 5 furlong King George Qatar Stakes. I didn't know that King George is from Qatar, but you learn something new every day. 5 furlongs on the turf course. 5 furlong starts back here, and it just runs along the straightaway. Some undulations as they come home, and as you mentioned, Tom, that gate does open up. It opens up like it's kind of like when you're on the highway and that opens up that third lane here in Chicago as we're going north on the Kennedy, right as you're about to get to what they call the Edens Junction. If you go to the left, like if you're going to go to O'Hare, a third lane pops open. And everybody just zooms over to that lane and goes 900 miles an hour. That's kind of what it looks like at Goodwood as well to me, Tom. I think that's a good analogy.
Not in the 5 furlong races, because the gate is set on the stand side. And so that more on the distance races where we're coming out of the turn. So 7 furlongs and longer, yes, for where the cutaway is. For the 5 and 6 furlongs, because where they set the stands, the starting gate, it's on the rail of the stand side, so they're just going straight down.
So they don't get that extra lane then.
Yeah, and to be honest, that middle is not playing real well. So for these kind of races, it shouldn't matter. But we've seen weirder things happen. So the three horses I picked have basically inside draws. Mm-hmm. So I went with number 4, Equilateral, as my top choice. 28 starts, 7 wins, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. Ran a better race last time out at the Curragh. Ran third. It just didn't finish, is really the best way to describe it. It was a little short, and that may be on little conditioning issues right there. And we do know the Curragh is a flat, straight 5 furlong race, so it's a little bit similar to this kind of setup. Mm-hmm. Generally, they run, though, on the far side rather than the near side. It's much better in his first 2 starts. He ran 5th in a Group 1 and 6th in a Group 2. So, decent company. Can't complain about that. Let's face it, he's 7 years old. They've spaced his races out. He's done okay in Dubai. And this is one that's coming to form. It is his first start, and sometimes the old guys need a little push.
Both of us can attest to that.
Yeah, and so I'm going to put him on top. I took the Czech horse as my next pick, and this is Pontus. He has 15 starts, 4 wins, 1 second, 1 third. He was not much at Royal Ascot. Well, he was featuring Nature Strip and a cast of very, very, very good horses. And he tried to run on the front, and that wasn't going to work. But the race before that, in a Group 3 at Paris Longchamp, Frankie Dettori had the mount that day, and he went off at 18-1 and won by 2.5 lengths. And guess where he ran? On the front end.
There you go, speedster.
Oh, now with Frankie back in the saddle, and he appears to know how to handle the horse. I gotta take a good look at this horse and see if it likes the Goodwood run. It'll be right there at the end, I think. Mm-hmm. Finally, I took number 8. Wrestle is my final choice. 15 starts, 9 wins, 2 seconds and 1 third. He won the last 2. One was by a neck, and the other race was against Dragon Symbol, where he won by 3/4 of a length. He has 3 wins this season, a second, and his first start of the season, he needed the start, was the bottom line. I think he'll be the favorite in this race because I think his form is very, very good. Mm-hmm. And he's one of those that you like to say either going to win or going to do nothing. And he has a couple seconds and a third, but this is the kind of horse that should win this kind of race, you would think.
So all or nothing.
We will see.
Well, I think you're right, Tom, because I have Wrestle as my first selection. Interesting to me is that he's run, you mentioned 15 times 9 wins. Those 9 wins come in 11 races at the short sprint stuff. So looks like you're looking at the right distance. And one of the seconds also came there. So 10 out of 11 in the exacta, but 9 times being the top of that ticket. Also ran a glorious Goodwood twice and managed to collect the winner's check in the both of those. Number 10, Mitbahi. that's my second choice. 4-1 as well. So it looks to me like 4-1 might be the favorite. And if you get a 4-1 in a race, that's a pretty wide open race according to the odds makers. The distance, this horse has also done well. Hit the board in 7 out of 8, 3 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. Has not had a chance to run over the Goodwood surface, but since it's come off the bench to start its campaign, its 3-year-old campaign in April, it's got a first, and a second by a neck. So it's a second, and the second by the neck was to the 8 horse. So I think those two could repeat that race, replay it, and finish 1-2 in either order and by a neck. Number 1 is my third choice. That is Lazuli. Lazuli, let me page up to my notes here again quickly, so forgive me. Lazuli is another one of these horses that I think has a pretty good shot to either do all or nothing at the distance. 10 times out with one of these short sprints, won it 4 times, came home third once. Coming off of a break, and it looks to me like it's been running against higher competition at Ascot, at Dubai. So it looks to me like this horse is taking a little bit of a step down in class and getting a tip in here too. So I gotta like that. And finally, gotta have a bomb in one of my picks, Tom, in here. So that's kind of my MO. Pick a couple that I think have a good shot to win, and maybe one that's a little bit farther down on the odds list. 25-1 in Qatar. So again, I like the fact that the horse has excelled at the distance 7 times out, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Did run against my second choice there, Midbahi, 2 races back, finished third, only a length and a half off. So maybe if it can do a little bit of improvement here, can close that gap. Not looking for it to win, Tom. Looking for it to help build up the exacta or trifecta like my bomb did today. Lest I forget, you know what's next, Tom? The predictor. All right, let's see what goes on here. Little cough button right there.
They're not going to.
This looks like a close race to me.
Yeah.
Rassel. Neither one of us had Akam Express or Clarendon House in Mitbahi.
I have Akam Express for fourth.
For fourth,
the horse is either going to run well or it's going to do absolutely nothing, and that's its pattern. And it's
kind of like my handicapping. I either hit them all or hit none.
I couldn't put it in as my top 3, but I did. I do slot it in for the 4th position.
And speaking of your 4th position, you're going to have all of your picks again, and we'll put them over on horseracingtoday.net. If you want a little bit of extra money, maybe a little bit of extra money. I mean, he's been on a roll for us since we've been working with the Professor Sides. Picks with the Professor. If you try to say that 10 times too fast, you get totally tongue-tied. His play of the day today is my Chicago Cubs right here. Tom, well, you're probably you're a Brewers fan, but Cubs fan. 123 on the plus side, a little bit of a underdog. He says basically the Cubs have a much closer pitching matchup on the starters, and then once they hit the bullpen, the Cubs bullpen is better than the Giants bullpen, and the Cubs offense has been better lately. So he feels like the plus 23, as he mentions, is a gift. And take the money and run it. I don't really like the G word in sports, Tom. It seems like it's like if you use the G word or the L word, gift or lock, you can guarantee that it's not going to go your way. But maybe he's got more fortune than we do. To get all of the Professor's picks, you can head down into the description on Facebook, YouTube, on Twitter. There's a link to his site when you go over there, please, when you're in the comment section on YouTube. Be loud, be proud. Let them know you came from horseracingtoday.net and give them the business, so to speak. All right, my friend, the last race we're going to do for tomorrow is race number 5. This one is the Queen's Plate Gloria Stakes. It is 1 mile and 4 furlongs. Again, in English, that's 1.5 miles. I'm going to start all the way back here. They're going to run around, come down, and then they're going to come through the inside loop, Tom.
Outside loop.
Outside. You know, I always get a 50-50 on that one and get it wrong. All right, so they're going to go down the outside.
I feel like I get it wrong every time, too. Because then I watching the races, and I go, oh, crap, we said on the broadcast it was.
They're going to go through one of these two. How about that? And they're going to come back down that stretch. So when you got this little bit of tight turn here, it looks to me like I'd probably want to maybe be I probably want to be on the inside of that turn. Do you feel like, Tom?
Yeah, you definitely want to be, and in this race, the wide draws tend to do not very well. So keep that in mind when you take a close look at this race. And with that, I took number 5, Global Storm, as my top choice. 19 starts, has 4 wins, 3 seconds, and 5 thirds. Last out, it ran third in a Group 2 at Newmarket. It faced Yabir, who was dropping in class. The note really on this one is that it was really broken out badly in the paddock. So it may have run a lot of its race in the paddock. So I would, if it does it again, I would be very nervous. Hopefully it'll be calm and collected, and it'll run a much better race.
Behave itself.
And he's done it. I mean, he's won at this. He won 12 furlongs in February at Dubai and 1.5 length in a handicap. He's never run at Goodwood, but I like his Newmarket runs, and I really think there's not a heck of a lot of difference when you're going those long races. When you hit that L from Newmarket to here, and the way the course plays, it's just a matter of where the positioning of the horse is in my mind, as much as anything. And if you got anything under you, you should be able to go. I took 7, Kamari is my next choice. 9 starts, 2 wins in 3 seconds. Ran as the favorite last out and ran second in a listed race at 3 3/4 lengths. The best way he weakened at the end, and it was a shorter distance in this race than his first race. So it sounds like conditioning to me. You're just not, because you ran 4th before, but he was only back 3 lengths. I mean, so he's there. He's just not finishing his races. Mm-hmm. So I think a little better conditioning, and maybe he was 80%. If he's back closer to where he should be, he could run a nice race in here. Of course, this is I saw on one of the bookie sites today that they're having a Godolphin, because there are 3 Godolphin horses in here. You can bet all 3 of them with odds to if they all 3 come in each place. So I don't know if I would do that, because the last horse I took was number 2, Desert Encounter, with draw 1 as my final choice. 49 starts, has 12 wins, 11 seconds, and 9 thirds. I wish I had a horse like that. I own one like that. Last race, first start of the year, it ran like it was a first start of the year. Lost by 12.5 lengths. It was a listed race, but he hadn't run in almost over a year. He hasn't won in a long time, but he likes to place. He placed in 4 out of his 8 races of there, and I'm looking for some odds here and a little better effort. He certainly proved in the past that he can run. I just need him to hit the board to help my exotics.
So the odds have gone from 18-1 to 20-1 to 18-1 to 20-1. So money moving away from Desert Encounter, and that's kind of funny to me, because where you stopped for the second time today is where I'm going to start. Desert Encounter. Horse at Glorious Goodwood has run 4 times. Tom, maybe it has a habit of hanging at the end. It's come home with the winner's check 1 time, but collected the second place check 3 times. So if you're doing some quick math, 1 + 3 is 4. 4 out of 4 in the exacta for Desert Encounter. And also had a little bit of success at this distance as well. It's run it 18 times, 5 wins, 3 seconds, 3 thirds, 11 out of 18. So likes the track, likes the distance. And I do think that you will see some improvement in race number 2 off the bench. Its history is one where it's run against really strong competition. So if the last race was just a warm-up for this one, should be ready to go. Number 8 is my second choice. Probably going to be the favorite. Looks like it is right now. Rebels Romance. Tom, what kind of negatives did you see there that Rebels Romance wasn't on your ticket?
It's going to be a huge favorite. It's a Godolphin. Yeah, it'd probably run its race and win this, but I'm going to try to beat it.
Mm-hmm. Well, when it's run in not in the UAE or in Saudi Arabia, when it's run in Great Britain, it's won. But when they shipped it to the Middle East, struggled, comes back to Great Britain. So in the last 3 races in England, it's won all of them. So maybe it just doesn't like the food in the Middle East. The next horse on my list is number 5. You had this one in there as well. It's Global Storm.
I do.
And we had a lot of agreement on here because the next one you have as well, too. Kamari is my next pick. Global Storm is making its second start off a layoff. And if you look back at its resume, horse usually improves in the second start off the break. Looking at its distance record, 4 times out, a win, a place, and a third. So I'm expecting some improvement. The horse can clearly handle the distance. It's run it a couple of times. Hasn't really won at a 1.5 miles. It does have 1 win 4 races ago. That was actually in the UAE. So maybe it likes the food over there. And then finally, the last one for me is Kamari is my 4th choice. This is a horse that's making its 3rd start off a layoff. The only other time the horse had a 3-race cycle was after its debut. So debut, race number 2, race number 3. It won the 3rd race, improving off the 2nd spot. And I really do like the idea of horses running in cycles. The trainers know probably how long it takes and what sort of effort it means to take for a horse to get into peak shape. Looks like it ran a peak race last time out and the 3rd time off a layoff. So I'm hoping Kamari can run a peak race again tomorrow. Let's see if a predictor says it's going to run a peak race, Tom. And here they go. And away they go. Down the stretch they come. Bang. They should almost have races go that fast anyway. Wouldn't it be fun?
Yep.
Get started, come home, you're done.
Well, it is quarter horse racing, right?
Yeah, so I don't know. If you look at this picture, do you think like the person who did this screwed up a little bit? Because this is one of those photos where you swear your horse won, but it didn't win because it sure as hell looks to me like Kamari's farther up the track than Rebel's Romance. Does that look that way to you too?
Well, maybe they know something and they're just not telling us.
It could be. But you got Kamari's, Rebel Romance, Global Storm, Fantasy Man. Those are the ones that, according to the predictor, are going to come home first. That wraps up our picks again. Tom will have his full picks over at horseracingtoday.net. We'll also put the recap to what it is that we covered today, races 2, 4, and 5. I'll again put up a free past performance. So if you want to do your own handicapping, which you always should, and just kind of use our ideas, either you like them or you don't like them. But hopefully when you do like them, it's the time that we're right. And when you don't like them, it's the time that we're wrong. We're going to take another crack at being right or wrong tonight, Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern with Golden Gate field announcer Matt Dinnerman. Matt will join us to talk about 3 races at Del Mar this Saturday, one of which being the Bing Crosby Stakes. That's what we'll kick it off with. Should be another fantastic show. Matt is a great guy, understands horse racing as well as just about anybody. And then Tom and I will be back tomorrow. Not quite sure, settled on what time we're going to do our 4 on Friday, but we're going to cover, 4 races and then an American race, right?
We're going to do right now Sprint, which is the consolation race, which has 12 runners. We're going to do the Lily Langtree, which is a Group 2 race for fillies and mares. There's only 8 runners in that race.
Better than the 43 or
Coral.
72 you were talking about the other day.
Yeah, well, that race with the 72 is now at 28, which is the maximum we can run in the race. And that's the Coral Stewart's Cup. It's a heritage handicap at 6 furlongs. That should be interesting, to say the least.
Oh my
and
God.
then finally, we're going to do the last race on the card, which is the Federation of Bloodstock Agents Handicap. It's a Class 3 race, and they have 18 runners in that one. And then our bonus race will be the Bowling Green on Sunday at Saratoga.
Wonderful stuff. So 28 horses. Do they stretch from gate to gate?
Essentially, well, they have gates.
Or from post to post?
Yeah.
That would be that's something else as well. So there won't be any room. There'll be a lot of bumping and grinding in that, just like a quarter horse race. Yeah, I look forward to that.
There's not that much difference in my mind, except it's on the turf.
And it's a little bit longer for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, the longest? What is it? 1,000. They run some races at Los Al. But those aren't really technically sanctioned races. I think, what is it, 880 or 890 is the longest race, which is what, 4.5 furlongs?
Something like that, yeah.
So, yeah, so close, but not quite.
Well, we'll be back tomorrow to talk about all of those horses. On Saturday, Eddie C. got it right this time, and Chris P. will be back with Spot Plays. They'll take a look at their thoughts for some of the big races at Saratoga on Saturday. You're going to want to make sure you check that out. Both of them are on location, too. So maybe they'll have a little bit of insight as to what they're seeing at the track. They'll be dressed up because when you're there, apparently you got to wear pants and a shirt.
Well, I don't think nudity would be allowed there. So
no. Well, we were thinking about doing topless handicapping, but again, we don't want people to have to unsee that once they've seen it. All right, Tom, sorry we're a little bit late today. Got a little bit of moving business to do. And you know, whenever you're doing the moving stuff, those logistics never work quite the way you think. You plan for 3 hours and it takes 4 hours. And then if you miss by an hour in Chicago, that traffic then goes from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and you want to pull out all of your hair. But anyway, till we get back tonight with Matt Ditterman to go over all of the go over 3 races at Del Mar this weekend. We hope that no matter what it is you do between here and there, Tom, that it ends up in the
winner's circle.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening, and may we experience more glory tomorrow at the glorious Goodwood.
We would like to see that.